Hey everybody, Joey Boy here, the Joel you can trust, back with a Walking Dead Roast 5 video, featuring a brand new face to the game, Wayland. I'm not completely caught up in the comics, and I did some googling for Wayland and I came up empty, so Wayland doesn't seem like a comic survivor, rather something that's just en route to survival. Okay, I'm gonna be serious here. This double chances for a month, I honestly thought it was going to be, above mediocre-esque quality survivors. Oh my god, was I wrong. I am, without a doubt, pulling for this son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. You kinky son of a bitch.
Let's first start off with the specialist skill. Decapitate. Yellows have finally obtained their Decapitate, so now we have a Decapitate of every color. Since there is a Decapitate of every color, now I can understand if defenses that are pure shield and revive might start to rethink their strategy. Reason being is now we can bring 2 Decapitates and a Disarm to deal with these obnoxious timeout teams, which heavily hinge on revive. So for me on this, I am happy. Base stats on Wayland compared to other Decapitates shows they are all very similar. The defenses do fluctuate a bit, and with that, so will the HP stats to accommodate for the altering defenses. Overall, very similar in base stats. As for the Adrenaline Rush numbers and actives, we can see a nice progression, going from the initial one that was 85 to the ones we have now at 76. Looking at the Adrenaline Rushes, they are different, which is refreshing. Tyrese is a lot of damage to a line, Alpha is screw your entire team, Sandy can easily take 1 or potentially 2 with some support to her team, and Wayland will burst damage to 2, and instead of buffing his team, he takes the alternative and adds a healing reduction debuff to 2 enemies. So anybody that you fail to kill, they're not going to get bonus HP, they're not going to get healed, letting you come back the next turn and be able to finish anybody off that you did not kill. But going back to the other Decapitate Adrenaline Rushes, I would agree that they are the same, but different. Looking at the actives as well, we can see a power gain here, and a buff that raises their stat strength. In this case, the attack stat. For the case we don't have a stat gain, like in Wayland's active, we apply a focus, which will give our survivor a better use for consistency, as Wayland does as he pleases when he applies that focus, which is a middle finger to human shields. Hey, let's throw another middle finger up, can we? There we go. Boom! Two-fisted to you human shielders. Wayland's default weapon makes this guy like a decapitating poor man's executioner. You get 150% attack for enemies that have less than 50% HP. Well, if your enemies go full HP for defense, then that might be a bad call versus Wayland. Because when he attacks anyone with lower than 50% HP, he will be doing 2.5 times more damage. That goes for his basic attacks and Adrenaline Rush damage. So you can play Wayland as an executioner style survivor given his weapon, and you can also play him as a damage support, such as you kill someone with his Adrenaline Rush and the other person he hit won't be healed or gain bonus HP, leaving them as an easy target to be attacked next. His weapon, I can see one really good option, which I feel will make Wayland more universal for use. I would put 2 crafts in his attack for 40% attack, 1 craft into huge AP when attacking, and leave the special mod. I would try to complete the 2 attack stats first, make sure you get 2 5%, and then if you were to go to the AP, it wouldn't matter if you get very large or huge, so long as the leadership is going to be huge when you combine him for later down the road. Combining Wayland with a 40% attack leader, 40% attack weapon, an attack buffer, and him critting, and oh my goodness, if you lower defenses, holy shit. I feel you're going to be on cloud 9 slapping people up, especially if they are below 50% HP, because, well, they're about to become a silhouette. For combat mods, we're going to go Wayland with an attack set, because his girth is enormous. As for combat mods themselves, let's go with attack for the stat mod. Trait mods, I would recommend attack versus blue, or attack versus red. Ideally, his strength is versing range, and whatever color you have a bigger vendetta against, I would probably go with that attack trait mod. Stun resist for when you verse blue, green, and range leaders, as greens and reds will bring the stuns, so it's best to prepare for them, as we cannot have an inactive Decapitate, especially versing a shield revive team. The next 3 mods I feel are a great fit on how you want your Wayland to play. If you want to increase the damage output of Wayland, and you know you'll be facing some in pairs, then attack while impaired might be a good call, especially if you are killing tanks that have under 50% HP. Your basic attacks at this point might be on par with an AR hit, and at this point, is being impaired for this Decapitate survivor that bad with his special weapon mod? We also got to think too when more neutralizers enter the game as well. If you feel Wayland's damage is more than enough and you want to focus on him surviving, then Graze is a solid choice. If damage output and survivability for Wayland isn't your concern and you are more concerned with your team, then AP Drain is a good call to make sure your team doesn't suffer from adrenaline rushes, allowing you to reduce the chances or stagger any sort of burst damage or crowd controlling enemy adrenaline rushes. The wildcard combat mod, I would personally go with crit or health. If your playstyle is highly aggressive and you send in teams that either slaughter or become slaughtered in 3 or 4 turns, then I can say go crit. If your gameplay is less aggressive and survivability is your thing, then go health. Jumping over into the team comp section. The first attack team will revolve around Connor, Command Glenn, and a Guardian 2 to support Rick and Wayland to clean up. To slow down AP generation with Guardian 2 shields, we use Guardian 2 Zeke, and if you are fortunate enough to get Guardian 2 Glenn, I would use him for the extra sustain. If Wayland becomes crowd controlled with Confuse or Taunt, we can have Rick use his active for Focus. Connor so that we can damage control and lower defenses, so that we can reach the 50% health benchmark for Wayland to mollywop the shit out of him, or lower defenses enough for Wayland to instantly kill too. The second attack team has more damage output and more CC to work with. Javier can lower defenses by 50% to 2 enemies and severely buff 2 people on your team with 100% attack. If Waylon gets this, then look the f*** out. Command Sadiq to apply more pressure, Dwight for a high damage output blue, and has the ability to remove defense buffs to your enemy, making shredding them even easier. The last spot for a medic is either based on what you have available or what enemy team you are about to verse. If you need focus to prevent taunts and confuses, then Yvette. Remove more than taunts and confuses, then Mackenzie. Want a turn 2 heal in case your team gets smacked the shit up out of turn 1, then Jesse. This next attack team, we're going to really focus on our Berserkers on turn 2 and turn 3 to apply their taunts, while also having Command Glenn to make sure we can jump that turn ahead to apply that burst damage from our Berserkers, to then have Waylon come in and then decap the enemy survivors, moving on to the next one. The good thing here is that 2 of our damage dealers, being Anna and Romanov, have the ability to sustain themselves, making sporadic hits on them benefit us severely. We bring Green Maribel in as her leadership skill complements this team a lot. Her Adrenaline Rush will remove any negative attack penalties, making our Berserkers and Waylon step back up to the plate, hitting like they should. Mirabelle also buffs the attack of her teammates when she Adrenaline Rushes, making Anna and Rom hit extremely hard if they have any stacks of Berserking, as Mirabelle's 50% attack will stack with our Survivor's Berserker and Wayland's weapon for when the enemy is below 50% HP. The last 2 attack teams are very well rounded. We bring double Decapitates with a Disarm to make sure no defensive weapon mods slow your team's roll. Disarm to start off and slowly kill our enemy, and having 2 Decapitates go last for easier last hitting, making sure we throw our middle fingers back up to those Revivers. Once the Revivers are out of the way, you can then use your Disarmers just like your other Decapitates. The choice of leaders is Premier Carl for revive and heals, and in the other team, we bring Green Defensive Carl, and then we also bring in Command Glenn to make up for the lack of damage from a leadership skill. I will not be doing any defensive teams for Waylon, as even if you toss him behind a human shield, one person with focus will make sure he dies on turn 2. As you can just unleash him on turn 1, focus turn 2, and finish him off. If you bring a 58 survivor, which can be commanded on turn 2, we'll make sure they put him down, or low enough to be killed or decapitated. So let's take a look at this guy in action. First, we're going to go for the Disarm Michonne, as she's going to have the weakest amount of armor, and 2 out of our 3 damage dealers here are yellow, so the trade advantage would be advantageous to take the Disarm Michonne out first. We then Barrage Magna just to get all of our Adrenaline Rushes popping, use Sophia for the defense down, Marlin to pretty much take 2 out. We're going to have Michonne remove the Erica and then do some decent damage to one of the Hunters. We'll decap the first Hunter and then just have Carl heal for the lulz. Hunter will bring back up Magna, but that is not a big deal as the damage has already been done, and since he's just uses Adrenaline Rush, we finish him off. This next team, we have a solo reviver being Mackenzie. She is going to be the first hit turn 1. So when it comes to using our multi-attack Adrenaline Rushes, we have the chance of taking her plus our main primary target out, which would have happened to been Magna, but we didn't end up killing her, so then we are going to finish her off with Wayland. At this point, there is no offensive pressure towards our team, so pretty much at this point, it's autoplay. It doesn't even matter. Nobody on the left side is going to die. The only reason why I wouldn't autoplay it is if you were in a battle for speed, such as in a war, but if not, autoplay is perfectly fine here. So we're going to look at this again, but I really want to showcase Wayland's 150 bonus attack when under 50%. 2239. 2239. That didn't even crit. Non-crit. What on earth is that damage? And that's going to wrap up the Survivor Spotlight of Wayland. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, it made you laugh, bored you, did anything positive, please give it a nice go around each hop to the like and subscribe button. Make sure you leave a comment down below. Support you, really appreciate it. And on that, I'll catch you all in the next video. Bye-bye.